Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Beast. This is getting rather hairy, lipsticks. I'm YouTube famous now. Available in 2027, the album Dad AF. Hey little thing, let me light your candle, cause I'm sure hard to handle now. Mess around. All right, let's get into this video. Happy Friday, how are you guys doing? I hope you are having a fantastic beginning to your weekend. Shane Dawson just posted the second part to his series. Today's video was called The Secrets of the Beauty World, I think, and it is episode 2 of his supposed 9-part series that he is doing with Jeffree Star called The Beautiful World of Jeffree Star. All right, so now I have said in many videos over the last couple months that I am attempting to go into each video being unbiased and just giving my authentic, genuine response. So, let me say before I make this video, okay? This is a difficult video for me to make. I'm gonna share some opinions with you that I feel are personal because I have looked up to Shane for a very, very long time. And he is somebody that I find to be humble and a really nice guy. And I had some issues with this video. So I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But I just want to put that out there first so that everybody can say, oh, you're completely biased. You're hating on these people. No, no, no. This is like, I sat there and I was like, okay, Peter, go into this video and watch this objectively. It was 56 minutes. I've had a long day. I posted another video earlier about Jaclyn Hill. And I showed the Manny MUA new release. So you can go over there and check that video out. I also talked about Jeffree Star a little bit in that video. So I went into this video. Now I have to tell you, if you didn't watch my after show, I do these little after shows after each episode, and I was going to wait until tomorrow, but last time I was traveling when the first episode came out from San Diego, and so many people tweeted me and were like, where's your response? Where's your response? We want your response. So I thought, I'm not going to like make anybody wait. I'm sure y'all are waiting on bated breath. Beast. No. But, and I'm getting ready to go eat the Impossible Burger at Red Robin with my husband and his best friend. So I thought, let's just get this video out. People can say what they want to say. And then tomorrow, after I have thought about it, you know, read the comments, seen the other videos that people have put out, maybe I'll have some other thoughts and maybe I'll come back and, you know, I don't know. Maybe you guys can change my opinion about this. Hopefully you can, because I really had a hard time with this episode. And it's probably not what you think. So if you've watched my first episode, if you watched my first video response to the first episode, what I said in there was that I was surprised that I liked it as much as I did. And that it kind of showed this whole world through Shane Dawson's eyes and all this kind of stuff, right? And there were some things I didn't like, there were some things I liked. Well, going into episode 2, I have to tell you, like I've said, I don't really care to watch a 9-part series about anybody, okay? Like, anybody. And, you know, like with Jake Paul, with that series, I really have no interest in Jake Paul whatsoever. As a YouTuber, as a person, like, I just really wanted to see what Shane Dawson was going to expose about him, or what he was going to, like, what was he going to show? Were we going to get to see a real Jake Paul? What were we going to get to see with that, right? And that was why I hung on so long through that series. With Jeffree Star, being that we already had a 5-part series with Shane before, I was like, okay, so what's he going to show other than developing this palette and all this kind of stuff? I have to tell you that what I really enjoyed about episode 2, and there was a lot that I enjoyed about it, was the whole behind the scenes of seeing how Jeffree puts together a palette, sitting down with his team, developing it. You know, everything about the business aspect of it was very, very interesting to me. You know, talking about like what other brands do, the price of the markup, retail versus wholesale, things like that. All of that was extremely interesting to me. And that is really what I have wanted from any beauty influencer for quite some time now, was to show us from beginning to end what that whole process looks like, you know? One of the things that was the most surprising to me was that they literally sat down at the warehouse. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch the episode. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. But it really surprised me that I thought that process would take a very long time. And I guess I don't know why I thought that, you know, but the fact that they sat down, they came up with a concept, you know, and that they like came up with the colors and the names, and all of that was basically done in one day. And then it's like, okay, here we go. We're off to the races. but you also have to realize that Jeffree Star is a very, well-run ship when it comes to beauty products. So this is not his first time at the rodeo. You know what I mean? Like, he's done this before, so he knows what he's doing. So for Jeffree to partner up with him and do this is very, very smart, because this is something he's done before. He even talks about, like, did the collaboration with Manny, and those kinds of things. So that whole aspect of Jeffree Star, like, Jeffree Star in this episode to me was very intriguing, very interesting to see the whole business side of him. I felt like it was, okay, in my last video that I did talking about Jaclyn Hill, I talked about, like, that for me watching Jeffree Star, sometimes it's hard to know, like, who's the real Jeffree Star. I felt like watching this episode, the entire episode, I felt like was watching the real Jeffree Star, like who he really is, behind the scenes, whatever. Now, I want to say this, because I talked about this in my last video. I don't know if any of you watched it yet. You're all probably watching the Shane series, so you're like, who cares? But when I talked about that kind of back and forth between, like, who's the real Jeffree and all that kind of stuff, to any YouTuber out there, to any person that's making a video that somebody else is watching, there is an aspect of entertainment to that, right? Like, I'm not stupid to think that. So I know that when Jeffree comes on Instagram stories, or when he comes on video or whatever, there's a certain amount of personality or persona or character that comes along with that, right? I totally understand that. But what I was saying was that I would really just like to see the person behind the veil. To some degree, Jeffree Star really is like Oz, or Willy Wonka to some degree. And that's all I've ever wanted to see, was like the man behind the mask. And I think this series is probably going to show that. I will say one thing that was interesting to me was, well, let me finish that. So the whole thing, everything to do with Jeffree in this series, or this episode, I really found intriguing. I thought it was interesting, how he went about it, the business aspect, how quick business-minded he is, which I never doubted for a second, right? But he is just very sharp when it comes to business. And, I have to say, okay, I think this is going to be a point of contention that a lot of people are going to say. They're going to say, Jeffree Star really is in it for the money, because he says in there, I'm not in it for the money, I'm in it to make dope products, right? This is the thing. Jeffree Star knows that he could make semi-okay products and still mark them up to $49 a pallet, or $48, $52 a pallet. People are doing that, right? He shows that on there. He shows what the markup is from wholesale to retail. He knows he could make a higher percentage. He even says that in there, right? And the reality is that one thing that people cannot take away from Jeffree Star is that they really do love his products. People that I know that don't even watch his videos stand behind his products. So, I do think that he is in this, yes, for the money. I mean, I think he likes his lifestyle, but I also think it's because he really does want to make the best products out there. I don't think it's just because of his artistry. I don't know that I believe that. I believe there's a pride and an ego that goes along with Jeffree Star in wanting to have the best products out there. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, who would shame somebody out there for that? That's any brand wants to have the best products out there, right? So that's interesting to me. One of the things I will find interesting is that there's a lot of discussion about money and Jeffree Star's money and how much he makes and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to be interested to see if at any point, and this has nothing to do with the beauty industry, but it is the beautiful world of Jeffree Star, if at any point they discuss his cannabis business. Because if they don't, I have to believe that Nathan and Jeffree's cannabis business is a huge part of their income at this point. I mean, I think we all know that, like, people are putting a lot of money into the cannabis business in this country, and it's just an exploding business right now. And, I think it'll be interesting to see if that is ever brought up at all, or if it's going to be all just about the makeup industry and what money he makes off of that. So all of that I really liked about the Jeffree Star part. That was what was very intriguing to me. I really liked when they were going through picking out the names, the Trish name, the Ryland name, like coming up with like the different sayings they say. I thought that was really cute. That is what I have always wanted to see behind the scenes. Like, whenever I watch somebody's palette and they go through the names, like, it seems so personal to them. I wanted to see how they came up with it. I loved when Jeffree Star said, I imagine somebody at home using this eye color that I came up with that way. That's not something that you just come up with in script. Like, that's a real thought. That's like a real emotion and feeling. So that, I enjoyed that whole process and seeing all of that. Okay, this is where I'm a little worried that Shane is going to get in the way of his own series, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. Okay, what's interesting to me is they're editing this video today they've been editing it. We know that. He says, I'm editing these up until I post them. And he includes this James Charles sister merch apparel thing in there. That was very interesting to me because we know that James Charles is no longer with Killer Merch, okay? We know that. His sister's apparel is no longer with Killer Merch. He took it away when he and Jeffree Star had their falling out. It's kind of like showing a smoking gun in a movie. Like, that smoking gun has to serve some purpose. So if James Charles and the merch is coming up in episode 2, you better bet your butt it's going to come up down the series again. It's going to come up back again at some point. I also thought it was interesting that at the very end of the episode, Jeffree made a comment about Laura Lee crying in her apology video. It kind of seems like they're going in guns blazing towards all of the drama that happened. So that being said, the drama is going to be dealt with firsthand. Now, either all of these people have made up behind the scenes, which if that's the case, then this is a very well-kept secret for the series, okay? Now, let me tell you if that's the case where I would have an issue with this as a fan, as a viewer of these people, okay? That we've invested in their lives and they're keeping this part over here from everybody else for entertainment purposes. But I don't necessarily believe that's the case. Do I think that maybe Manny and Jeffree have made up? Maybe. Do I think that they've had some come to terms or whatever? Sure. Do I think the whole lot of them sat down and made up? Do I think that Jeffree Star and James Charles sat down and talked? No. Okay? But it is interesting to me when Jeffree Star comes out and says he's like my little brother. I don't know how people talk to their little brothers. I'm just saying, okay? But that was very interesting to me, and it's almost kind of like Shane is kind of like under the illusion that people didn't watch it all go down, Dramageddon 2, and all those interactions, and what Jeffree said, what he tweeted and deleted, all of that kind of stuff. That's very interesting to me. Like, Shane's almost kind of like, it's kind of like rewriting history a little bit to me, that like, here's what we're going to show you so that when we get to addressing this point, we already know how Jeffree felt going into it, and it was very sad and all that kind of stuff, which, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there, you know, alongside him through all of that, but it'll be interesting to see how that's all portrayed through the eyes of Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson when that all comes up, and it will, because it's continuing to be spit out, you know, through the thing. So here's the part that is hard for me to talk about. I have looked up to Shane for a long time. I have looked up to Shane as a creative person, as a creative genius, I have called him. I think he's a fantastic writer. I think that his ideas that he comes up with are fantastic. And one of the things that I really loved about Shane from the very beginning when I started watching him is how relatable he is and down to earth. And for me, watching this video, like I've always said with YouTubers, okay, that if you grow on YouTube, as you grow, if you bring people with your journey of, like, let's say you start making a lot of money and blah, 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 and you show that journey as you go of buying this and buying that and staying here, then your audience grows with you. They see that success, right? But if you play it for 12 years, like, I have no money, and then all of a sudden it becomes about money, it's like, who is this person? And that was kind of what, I don't know, like, I really, like, if Shane watches this video, and Shane's watched my past videos, I know he's going to feel like I'm maybe coming for him or something. That's not what it was. It almost was kind of, in a weird way, like hero worship, and then you see the human behind it, if that makes sense. Like, I'm sitting there watching it, and there were so many references, that hurt, I just slapped my thigh. There were so many references to the money and how much money they make and all this kind of stuff. Now, I think that some of it was, you know, apropos to the video. I think some of it was important, you know, when you're talking about, like, how much Jeffree Star made off a palette. Like, we all want to know that, right? But if you go back to the first season or the first series that Shane did with Jeffree, it was a lot about money, too. It was a lot about how much money this, how much money that. Oh, my God, you're so rich, right? And then we get back again, and the first scene of this episode is Andrew, Shane, and Rylan talking about percentages of money they're going to make off this palette sale, okay? And then he goes in and he asks, you know, Jeffree that he really wants to know, like, how much money, blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. When I have to be honest with you, 30%, like, if you think about, like, going into a business with somebody and they have no investment and they're just going to get a 30% profit out of that on their name alone, like, that's a pretty incredible percentage. And what that is Jeffree Star banking on the fact that Shane Dawson is going to sell a ton of palettes and merch. And we already know that, okay? When Shane is sitting there and talking about, I'm not going to sell this, I'm not going to sell this, I'm not going to sell this, I'm like, we already know this thing is going to sell out that quick, okay? We already know that. All the people that love Jeffree Star's makeup are going to buy it because it's a Jeffree Star product, okay? With Shane's name on it. It's a Jeffree Star, it's still Jeffree Star products, right? Jeffree Star Cosmetics. Then the people that love Shane are going to buy it on top. And when they're talking about the number, they point to his, subscriber number, which is interesting, right? The other thing is like this whole idea that Shane never thinks anything is going to be successful. I'm like, dude, just look at your last 10 videos, right? When you're sitting there by yourself and you're beating yourself up that this video is not going to do well, nobody's going to like it. So I was thinking about that. I was kind of thinking it through, like, well, what is he worried about? What is he afraid of how he's going to come across on video? Is he afraid of how he's going to be presented? That he's constantly worried of what people will think of him? Well, if you're just yourself, then won't people like you anyway? So now I'm seeing a different side of Shane, and I'm like, I don't know what I think about this Shane that's money obsessed. You know, even the breakdown with the merch, which, listen, I feel for the man, okay, that he got screwed over for 12 years on not making a lot of money off of merch, but I don't believe that he hasn't made some money off of merch, okay? Do I believe that he's made, in comparison to $12 a t-shirt or whatever? No, I think that's a really, really high percentage. And, you know, it just is interesting to me. I do think the message they're trying to send out is we're not going to be screwed with anymore as YouTubers, and we're trying to help other YouTubers that come up behind us. And I get that, right? But the way that it was shown, there was so much discussion about money from Shane's point of view, even going back to the house, and Rylan joked about upping his percentage point and all this kind of stuff. And then, I have to say, I'm sitting there thinking about, I was like sitting there watching this, and I was like, I love Shane. Do I dare title this video, is this Shane's cash grab? Because I'm kind of like, everybody has been saying this for months and months and months. This is Shane's cash grab. And I was like, I really don't believe it is. I really believe this is Shane just going in and really being interested in makeup. I don't know. I'm starting to think maybe that's not the case. And it really was kind of like disillusioning to me as I was watching this video. And I'm going to continue to watch it. And I hope he proves me wrong. I hope that's not the case. I hope that, you know, and I see how invested he is in all this kind of stuff. And I just hope it's different, you know? And I've said for some time, like, if Shane were so interested in the whole makeup industry and all this kind of stuff, why not go and, like, hire somebody to come to his house 3 times a week and teach him how to do makeup? Like, instead of going to, you know, like, a makeup school, cosmetology school, have somebody come and teach you at your house. If you have the time and the money to do this, have somebody come and teach you that. Like, if you're really that invested in learning about makeup and stuff like that. The playing with the makeup and all that kind of stuff, I think is fantastic. I think there's a lot of people out there that relate to that just want to play with makeup and look and watch tutorials. And I think that's a lot of what we're going to see. And I think he's going to show what it's like from the viewer's point of view. But, you know, like, it's going to be interesting to me to see if the money thing keeps on coming up over and over and over, and how much are they going to make and percentage points and all this kind of stuff. It was too much in one episode. If it had been mentioned once or twice, I think it would be okay. But it was too much. And then at the end, this is what really got me, okay? Was when Jeffree said, or when Shane said that people are coming for him and saying that it's a cash grab, and that he gets upset about that, right? And Jeffree said, well, you're upset about it because you know that's not the truth, or something to that effect. He goes, you know you're really in this because you're interested, okay? Or is it upsetting to you because it is true? I mean, who knows? It could be either or, right? But the thing about it is, then Jeffree says anybody should know that you could have done any amount of products before this that have been a cash grab for you long before you ever met me. Well, we just saw a 10-minute clip in the video where Shane basically has a breakdown because he hasn't been making any money like all these other YouTubers on merch. So could he have had a cash grab before Jeffree Star? I don't think so. I think they both know this is going to make them a hell of a lot of money. And on top of it, let's put out a bomb ASS documentary series on it and show the background of how this all goes down because everybody's interested in this anyway. It's a win-win situation. And it's very, very smart, right? And listen, if somebody came to me and said, I want to make a palette with you, and I'd be like, yes, okay, you think I'd sell 20 of them? I wouldn't. So that's the difference. Shane knows that Jeffree Star can make the palettes. Jeffree knows that Shane's going to sell the palettes. Jeffree said in the video, 100% my business improved after we did the series. Okay, right there is basically your study of how well this palette is going to do. They're both gonna make a lot of money off this. So yeah, it is to some degree a cash grab, okay? Whether it's all about that, which I don't believe it is, I hope to God it's not all about that. I cannot believe in my heart of hearts that Shane is really that shallow that it's all about. I just don't think it is about that. But I really hope that we don't see this, you know, when you start seeing your YouTubers change in front of your eyes, if this has ever happened to you before, and it has happened to me before, where somebody that you really love changes in front of your eyes and you're just like, I can't get with this anymore. I just can't. You know, it's really, really hard. It's disillusioning because we love these people. You know, we look up to them. And so I don't know. We're going to see what happens in this. And like I said, this is hard for me to make because I really do like Shane. I really look up to him, you know? He's somebody that I just thought, like, you know, if he can do it, anybody can do it on YouTube or creatively or, you know, whatever. Listen, and I don't fault him for wanting to do it, even if it is for a cash grab. I wish he'd just get on video and be like, I can't wait to make this much money off of it. Like, this is a, you know, he does kind of allude to that and say, I've never as a YouTuber heard that amount of money before, whatever. I kind of like to know what his bonus or what his sign-on was for his bestseller that he made, because that to me, I have to believe that he got a pretty high amount off that, you know. I mean, I know some about the book industry. It wouldn't have been 20 grand, I'm just telling you that. So that was interesting to me, and we're going to have to see what happens going forward. I don't know, am I the only one that felt that way about it? It's like the money was addressed in the first series, the money was addressed in the first episode, the money's being addressed in the second episode. Is this just all about money? I mean, is this should we be calling this series How Much Money Jeffree Star Makes a Year? I mean, like, I don't care that much about the money. I really don't. I want to see the creative process about it, and I have to tell you, one of the things that was kind of, to me, endearing, but kind of sad at the same time, was when Andrew was sitting in the car and he said, you know, this is really cool creatively to see, and you could just see, like, Shane was just, like, baffled by all of this, right? And Andrew said, it's really cool to see you use your creativity for something different. Like, that's his close friend seeing that in him, right? It's great that you're going to make a lot of money off this, Shane. I hope you do. I know you will. I know you'll make a ton of money off this, okay? And that's fine, and that's good. But please don't let this be about that, okay? Please just don't let this whole series be about the money. Let us see everything else, because it's a lot. I mean, when you are mentioning it that much, it just was a lot to me. So I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that feels that way. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm waiting for the next episode. I'm hoping in the next episode, or by something that you guys say in the comment section below, you will change my mind and my point of view of this. I'll continue to love Shane, obviously. You know, like, I mean, he's somebody that I've looked up to for a long, long time. I think he does really badass series and documentaries. I'm excited about seeing this. Whether I'm excited about the topic at hand or not is really not the point. I'm just excited to see what he does about this. I have to say, though, I am very intrigued with the behind the scenes of how all this is put together. And I think, to me, that is the meat and the potatoes of this series that I really want to see. At this point, yes, I'm intrigued to see how the drama is going to be dealt with, but I have to say, after episode 2, I'm more intrigued to see the building of this. I really am, and it's weird. It's like, one episode I say I'm not interested in that, and the next episode I say I am interested in that, so it goes back and forth. I have to say to Andrew, I do want to say this, the editing was absolutely impeccable. And I just want to say this as somebody that has studied film in my past. If you've ever seen the movie Crooklyn by Spike Lee, the editing and the back and forth when they're at the very end in the meeting room is very similar to that, and it's supposed to give you a level of being uncomfortable. Andrew is a genius editor, and like, I think sometimes we give him a lot of credit, but we don't really give him credit where the credit is due. It was genius editing in this series, and if Shane's part of that too, then aces to you as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.